Shalom again to everyone. Last week we spoke about the mitzvah of Avas Hashem, Yiras Hashem, love and fear of God. The Rambam and the Ramchal both introduced us to the imperative of these mitzvahs. The Rambam gave us the halachic imperative, and the Ramchal added that it's one of the most impactful ways for a person to draw closer to Hashem, illuminating the darkness and confusion of our physicality, which enables our soul to illuminate our daily lives. So this was in chapter 4 of the first section, where both the Rambam and the Ramchal instructed us how to fulfill the mitzvah of Ava and Yira, contemplate the infinite nature of the world, the cosmology, the biology, the atomic theory, history, the infinite wisdom that goes in to creating, to maintaining this awesome reality. This Ava creates a desire to grow close and to serve, the realization of the greatness of this Creator. But on the other hand, the realization of how limited we are in our own intelligence, how powerless we are in the face of nature. This generates yira, the sense of awe that is being commanded when we're commanded to fear God. But this yira that we're talking about, this is what the Kabbalistic Sfarim call yirat haromimut. It's not fear of punishment, but it's fear of the awesomeness. It's yira, it's really awe rather than fear. Now in section 4, chapter 3 of Derech Hashem, the Ramchal introduces us to another kind of yira. And this yira is also taught to us by the Rambam in chapter 10 of Hilchos Tshuva. Along the way of exploring this yira, this lower level yira, we're going to understand the nature of authentic love. So the Ramchal writes that when we talk about Ava and Yira, love and fear of Hashem, we want it to be Ava v'Yira ha'amitit, true authentic love and fear, shehem ahavat shmo yitbarach, the love of God's name, which means the greatness of what He does and what He is, v'lo ahavat haschar, but not the love of the reward that we're going to get from God, the payoff that we get from God. And also yirah means yirat haromimut, says the Ramchal, as we just mentioned, v'lo yirat ha'onish, but not fear of punishment. So we're talking here not about love of reward and not fear of punishment. So what are we talking about? So the word for love, ahava, is hav, to give. A person who loves and gives because of what they're getting back, that's not really loving the other person. That's not really giving to the other person. At the depth, it's love of the self. It's, I am giving something in order for me to get something in return. There's a famous Hasidic story, a joke about two friends, Yankel and Shmerel, and Yankel walks in on Shmerel, and Shmerel is devouring fish with true, real gusto. And Yankel looks to Shmerel and says, "Wow, Shmerel, you really looks like you love that fish." He says, "Yeah, boy, do I love fish." And Yankel says to Shmerel, "Well, if you love fish, why are you eating the fish?" Of course, what Shmerel was saying is he loves himself, and eating fish makes him feel good. So that's not real love. We have the pasuk in Tehillim, Ashra ish yirei Hashem b'mitzvotav chafetz me'od. So praiseworthy and validated is the person who fears God and who loves God's mitzvos. So the Gemara in Avodah Zarah Daf Yud Tet is medayek. It analyzes precisely that it says b'mitzvotav. God, He wants God's mitzvot. V'lo bischar mitzvotav. He's not looking to get the reward of God's mitzvos. And then it brings the famous Mishnah at the beginning of Pirkei Avot, Al tiyu mishamshen et harav al menat lekabel pras. One is not supposed to be like a servant who serves God with the intention of getting reward, but you're supposed to be like a servant who serves without the intention of getting a reward. And the Maral, on the spot in the Pirkei Avot, as well as in Netivot Ahavat Hashem, So he asks a very simple question. and we'll try to make it a little contemporary with our own experience. What servant serves without a motivation for reward? Walk into a restaurant, and I am your waiter tonight. I'm here to give you great service. That's Ovdim Es Harav. I'm here to serve you. But of course, why am I doing this? I'm doing it to get a good tip, or at least to keep my job. That's al menat lekabel pras. Is this legitimate? Says the Maral, of course, it's very acceptable. That's absolutely the way things work, and nobody should expect from me anything different. So what is this paradigm of lo al menat lekabel pras, which doesn't seem to exist in the real world? What's the problem with serving Hashem that way if everybody serves al menat lekabel pras? Says the Maharal, the essence of service is when I am doing it for the person I am serving. If service is being done for me, for my agenda, that's not real service. So al menat lekabel pras is not true service. True service is only shelo al menat lekabel pras. The essence of service is always outwardly directed, motivated exclusively to serve the other. Now, with a human being, says the Maharal, the human being is not created in order to serve another person. So therefore, there's no requirement that the service that's being given be the essence of service. It can be legitimately done for the welfare, the benefit of the person giving the service, to get a tip, to get a salary. A servant is entitled to be motivated by compensation. However, when we're serving God, there we are created to serve God. So says the Maharal, there has to be the essence of service. The service has to be lo al menat lekabel pras, completely outwardly directed. So here we get into the concept, and we will talk about this next week, the idea of avoda me'ahava, service out of love, and avoda miyira, service out of fear. Fear is always inwardly directed. Fear is, when I do something out of fear, I fear punishment. So really, it's about me. I'm worried about me. True ava is about the other person. I'm interested, I'm motivated to give. So avoda me'ahava, when we serve God out of love, what we're doing is we're motivated to give. When we serve out of yira, we're worried about ourselves. It's inwardly directed. So this dichotomy, outwardly directed or inwardly directed, this is going to be the foundation of understanding what true love is, and it's going to affect our relationship with God, but it's also going to affect our relationship with our spouses and with other people. That's for next week.